on the Volvo FH, but this time on a completely different standalone map. We're checking out Trijon 0.2 today. Let's do this. Hey guys, Clumsy here, and welcome back to ETS2. Really loving this truck. It's been a while since I've driven it, and we've driven it in the last video where we featured the Pomerania 1:1 map. We're sticking with the mostly same truck, just a little bit of different config, but checking out Trijon 0.2 today. This is how the map looks now. Now this map has been... I haven't driven this in so long. You can see some discovered areas here when we first tried it out, like I think 2 years ago. And also Christmas season back during that time. With 0.2, all these areas where my mouse is circling around have been added. And today we're checking that out by traveling on the A4, which looks like a very large straight highway here. And we will go and explore some of the cities in the vicinity. I'm not going to try and pronounce them though. I'll leave that to you guys. I know we have a lot of Dutch people in the community, so you help me out with the pronunciation, okay? Anyway, let's get started. No complaints. Crash bomb sounds. Same as what we've tried in the last episode. Also showing off some of the how do you call this, accessories that were the prizes of the recent community event for Christmas 2020. I also have the fan sound version of Crash Bomb sounds. Crash Bomb's Volvo FH sounds with the fan enabled. In terms of mods, Natural Lux of course in terms of graphics. But for this one I don't have Project Next Gen enabled because I tried enabling it, and I think the map uses some custom textures. And so those custom textures combined with Project Next Gen modified textures are not the most compatible from what I've seen. So for now we're sticking with the default textures from the map. Whatever they provided is what we are seeing right now, which is very nice looking actually. Yeah, that red texture in particular, I guess that's for the bike lane, right? That is custom. I tried enabling Frosty mod for this. It didn't look very nice because yeah, there are some custom textures that the default Frosty mod doesn't touch. So don't use Frosty mod. Signage of course is complete. Very much Dutch. Is that how you say? But I will leave it to you to judge if it's close enough. Now I have been trying to scour the forums and some of the Discord conversations. So far from what I've seen, people have been very pleased with Trijon. Trijon is a standalone map, so you need to have a new profile, and the scale is 1:2. Now 1:2 might sound a bit weird in the beginning, like why not 1:1? Or why not 1:19, the default scale of the default map? Well, it's a very interesting topic actually. Some people over at the forums were saying this is actually like the best of both worlds, because you get that very realistic feel that you don't just travel through cities and roads in a matter of minutes. You really get that sense of scale, but it's not overly extreme like real life extreme. So you get it a bit of mix, and it looks like 1:2 is the good balance in there, and we'll see if we feel the same. 90? Looks like there's a random roadworks kind of deal. Interesting, okay. So what is the speed limit in reality? Is it 80? Yes, it is 80, okay. We'll keep that then. You also notice the 4-lane highways here, which is not very common, especially with default SES roads. It's nice to see a highway feeling like a highway. Now, as expected, the Netherlands is a very flat country geographically from what I've heard. And so we should not expect a lot of hills, a lot of undulating up and down roads, at least not that steep. So I guess this is on point. Yeah, reading off from the feedback from several Dutch people trying this map out, they were saying that some areas are actually so recognizable that they feel like they're really in that spot in real life, which is very interesting. This is in direct contrast to the previous map that we've been checking out, the Pomerania map. The Pomerania map is 1:1, so different scale, and it's also a fictional map, which I mentioned during that video that I really like because I cannot relate to the real life places anyway, so it doesn't bother me that we cannot really check out or compare it to real life places. So that's nice for me, but on the other end of the spectrum is this one, Trijon, 1:2 scale, and based on real life roads, real life places in the Netherlands. So that's a huge benefit for people who have been here, who are locals especially, who are familiar with the place. You have some real life references. And I'd be interested in hearing from you guys if you feel the same. If you feel the same that this looks like the real thing. Does the signage look correct? Do the roads look correct? Can you recognize real places from when you drive here? Like that church or whatever building that is, it doesn't look like a church. I don't know, like a town hall maybe? And the exit sign, which I don't know how to pronounce with. I know there's a trick to it, but I've never gotten it. Yes. I've heard some problems with frame drops though, and I'm noticing a few stutters here and there, but I'm not sure if it's related to the map or something else. One sec, huh? Yeah, the FPS is pretty low considering. So there might be some huge, yeah, you can see those stutters as well in terms of the frame time. So I think some optimization might be needed on this area. Also, that FPS for me is actually very low, hitting 60. Normally I would lock the FPS to 120, but here we are pretty close to the edge, so you might expect some frame drops in this area. Actually surprising, because normally highways have very good FPS. It might be that they have several objects elsewhere. Thankfully the stutters have gone, so that's good. Alright, let's get rid of the FPS counter here. So yeah, do take note that you might get some stutters here and there. I don't think I should have any mods that would cause that. I basically have the same set of mods in Pomerania and in Trijon, but it looks like I'm getting more stutters and less FPS here in Trijon. So maybe the number of objects is the culprit here. Might do with a bit of optimization passes. It does look nice overall though, and you can definitely see the custom made signs and traffic lights even. So that's very welcome. I'd be very interested in hearing from our Dutch folks in the community. I know we have some very active ones. Maybe San Semiano will be watching. Let us know. And some of the good guys as well. Looking forward to your inputs. But yeah, just take note that you might encounter FPS drops. I think I saw as well some comments in the forums about FPS drops. But if you're not very particular with that, then it shouldn't matter. The good thing is I get that full experience. That realistic scale that's not overly extreme. You know, just the right level of realism to get you a feel of the place, but not too much that it actually becomes a chore to drive through. My goodness, this country is really flat, huh? You can see end to end there. Yeah, unfortunately that becomes a disadvantage in this graphics engine because of the draw distance. You can see some things popping up there, which is going to be hard to work around because geographically you cannot just put hills or mountains in the surroundings to cover up that limitation. Yeah, that's going to be a very challenging thing to overcome, but so far it's not really that apparent. It's not like screaming at you, popping up in front of you, only if you look very closely. I am noticing though that the roads are a bit not too circular. You can see the edges on this thing there. I'm not sure if I can describe it properly. Like, you know, these bends. This bend in particular is good. It's really bending, curving naturally. But some of the older prefabs, I guess, of the older roads are still using that old model wherein you actually see the lines, the edges. Instead of a smooth curve, you see this like polygon with multiple edges circling around bit by bit. So some of the edges are like that, but some are very curvy, some are properly curvy like this. So this one is nice. But that one was we were exiting the highway, that was looking quite old. Well, that was quick. We were past the highway already. That was a nice experience. Also very nice traveling through a very different feel actually, which I like. This is exactly why we like different maps, different areas. Because you really get that feel that you're in a different place. Even if you're driving the same exact truck, almost exact truck, we can actually get a very different vibe here because the roads are different, the signs, the road markings, the trees, the buildings are all different. Oh, look at this. A hill. Maybe not really, but as close to a hill as possible as we can get here. Slow it down. So yeah, what do you guys think about 1:2 or 1:1? 89.1. I remember pointing that out before, but I think that's another, like, so much attention to detail that they're putting in. What is that? Oh, left turn, I see. That actually, I think each intersection has their own number. Let's try and observe the next stoplight if we see one. I think the last one we saw was 70 something, if I remember correctly. Interesting. I remember pointing that out before. I can't remember if it was for this map, but if so, that would be a very detailed thing to put in, like equivalent of having exit numbers. Very nice. Getting lots of trees here as well, although the trees are a bit uniform. I'm not sure if it's really like that in real life, but it's nice to see that even if they're the same type, they're not like exactly the same. So they're probably like rotated, or the branches look a bit different. So even though they are quite uniform, it's not 1:1, so at least there is some variety in there. I would have personally preferred that the trees look very different from each other and not too uniform, but maybe in real life this is how they really look. So we cannot contest that. That's one of the limitations in beauties, depending on how you look at it. When you are really mapping something from real life, you are limited to reality, but at the same time, if you get that right, if you really model it to be as close as possible to reality, then yeah, it's a great feeling, especially for those who are familiar with the place. Unfortunately for me, I cannot relate, but I'm happy to drive around with you guys, so you can check it out and let me know if you recognize some of the places, okay? Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention this in the previous video. I actually got myself a nice pair of apparently it's called IEMs, in-ear monitors. So I've been using earphones for the last year or so, and I finally got some decent ones. My goodness, the sounds are so much different. You'll see it next time we stream. I'll show it to you, but the sound quality is so different. I can actually hear all the intricacies, all the details of the engine. I can hear my voice better, and I can just appreciate the sounds that much more. Just a bit of a side note there. Here we are. Very quick. Boskoop. Also very interesting, the city signs here in the Netherlands. Very unique compared to other countries. Like, once you see a sign like that, you know you're here. Cool. Alright, let's spark it up. Barriers, nice touch. This looks like a familiar prefab. Thankfully, I wouldn't have to do a very hard parking this time. Hard parkings are nice and all. Oh, and you might be wondering about the company. I actually have a company mod. I think by default, the map uses default companies from SES. But I have Shumi's real company mod, so that's why you can see LKW Water and even this trailer that we're carrying. This is supposedly Salmon Fish or something like that company, but this one has been made into, I guess, a real company equivalent. It might not exist in the Netherlands though, so some of these might not be accurate geographically, but at least they're still real companies. And I would prefer that much more than totally fictional companies. That, and because the lettering, the design of the fictional companies, I'm not so much a fan of. Like, they are a bit too fictional in my view. Like, for example, I'm not really familiar with the European companies, so I don't really recognize them. But the way their trailers are designed like this, the logos, the design overall, you really get that feel that they are real. The fictional companies from SES by default, they are too fictional in my... Aren't we getting that? Goodness. Yeah, the fictional companies from SES, they look too fictional in my view. Even the design, so they're not believable enough for me. So I don't like using them so much. It's not that the company name is fake. It's more on the design that I am not a fan of. So if they can improve the designs, make them more realistic, make them more like how real trailers, how real company logos should look like, I might be able to get behind that more. But for now, thankfully, you have the likes of Shumi and other modding community members to make real companies for us. Oh, that's a short trip. I wasn't expecting to have it that short. Cool. 1:2 scale. At least it's not that bad. Yeah, that's true. It's not so hardcore. Yeah, because it was saying 33 minutes in game is for us around 20 minutes in real time. So yeah, not 1:1, not 1:2 either. But yeah, it's not really that straight cut. But cool. Anyway, I'll leave you guys to it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if it's close to reality. How's your own experience driving here, and if you've driven in the other roads, because there are plenty of other roads we can still explore with the new update. So let me know if you've driven through those. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Clumsy Trucking, and bye-bye. Catch you soon, guys.